Welcome to Sonderlings, integrating Troika system. Let the bio ride begin.
Hey folks, welcome back to Sonderlings, episode 3, I think? Yeah, episode 3. I hope you are enjoying the journey thus far. I am your James Master. I'm your Games Master, Danny. Joining me as always are Carly, DB, and Jacob. Say hey, everybody.
Hello,
Hey, everybody.
So, you all, the last thing that happened is you took your final exam and you passed with flying colors, sure. And you heard from listener Nalthus, and he was like, come see me in my office. Well, come see me in my office, because we love that voice. So you are on your way to go see the head listener in their office. And are we doing anything on the way there, or do we want to just go straight there? What are we thinking?
So, for clarification, are we talking, we've just finished that book exam, or have we had time to finish our other couple of exams that were outstanding and kind of pack up?
You
how long
just finished the book exam. You're going to talk to him, and then we'll figure out what happens next.
Then absolutely not. I'm hoping that I can scrape any maybe residual snot off of my clothing, rub it into my toad, but I'm just excited to hear the next stage.
I think I was eating a bapple pie that I'd made out of scraps I'd shoved in my pockets.
Yes.
And you smashed it together.
I will also say
together.
The term bapple pie here is very loose. It's more like just a squished, macerated mess of bapple.
Yeah,
it is
less
bapple
of
pie.
like
But
what you would think of when you think of like a nice apple pie, and more what you would think of when you think of a mud pie. Yes.
Which are also delicious.
Of bapple, though. But yes.
Yeah, of bapple mud. Bapple mud. The fun fact, that fruit doesn't actually have juice. It has mud that comes out when you cut it open. It's very gelatinous. Perfect. So you're on your way. You enter the head listener's office again. They're sitting there waiting for you. Congratulations. You managed to survive, and we're very proud of you. Each one of you has a couple of exams left, but I'm pretty sure you can handle all of that. So, I mean, you're gonna get to go on your journey. This is fantastic news. Do any of you have any questions for me before I send you scurrying off to your beds for a nice rest?
So I just lean forward and I've carefully, like with my hand, cut a slice out of my bapple pie, and I just say bapple pie, and I just turn it over and put it on the papers in the middle of his desk.
Oh, thank you, Nimbus. That looks delicious. I'm going to save this for later. And he just puts it off to the side. Just picks up the whole stack of papers and moves them off to the side. Oh yeah, that looks great. I'm sure that will be a tasty treat after my evening meal. Quith.
On the note of bapples, I was hoping you might have a couple extras laying around here someplace in the office, perhaps just in case something had gone wrong with that last test. I was hoping we could have a couple extra to take with us on the road, perhaps. It is a delicious and rare ingredient.
You know there are bapples in the cafeteria that you can have access to. You don't.
So you didn't save me any of these special bapples? I got to go all the way down to the cafeteria and pay my normal compensation for them? Ugh.
They're not.
I don't want cafeteria bapples. I want the nice Dean bapples. I know you keep the best bapples.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're all crazies. Just a bunch of crazies. Please get out of my office.
I pick up a little piece of the macerated bapple bits that that old Nimbus has brought with us. Take a few nibbles off of that as we make our way back into the hallway.
Okay, so you're journeying. Are you going to grab some food on your way to bed? Are you going straight to sleep? Like, what's happening next? Because at this point, you all know, like, it's go rest up, get ready for your final exams tomorrow, and then hopefully after that, you'll be heading towards the frontier.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna want to go down and get some bapples from the cafeteria. Absolutely, I want to restock on a couple provisions because I know I had to eat a couple bits during our exam. Got hit a little hard. I'm bleeding, so I'd like to get some bapples.
That's only natural.
Besides that,
a bapple a day.
I'm hoping to also be able to go and get someplace on campus, perhaps some sort of like a mud mask, something like that, to relax after my heart exam, and also re-moisten my toad in the solitude of my own space.
Okay.
I don't know if that would exist someplace or if it would be something I would have to make, but I do want to spend some time tonight making a stinky, delicious mud mask for me and my toad companion.
Okay. So there are plenty of bapples in the cafeteria, as well as assortment of
when you say
other
plenty
foods.
of bapples, is there like a tray with stacked bapples that I can just hoard a bunch of, because that's what I'm looking for.
Sure.
What does this cafeteria look like? I wanna hear a little bit about it. Is it very industrial, or is it fantastical? Is it a dining hall, or is it a cafeteria?
This is like quintessential, like 1990s high school cafeteria. Like,
okay,
really
very low budget.
Really low budget, not high production. The food is adequate at best.
Horrific lighting, very white.
Yeah, there's literally
okay.
like,
imagine like the slop from the ladle.
Yes, like that. There's literally like a bar of just like bapples and assorted other produce, and like basically like a sandwich bar where you can like get fruits and vegetables and make yourself sandwiches, because you're probably going to have better luck with that stuff than whatever the hell is in the normal line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just pizza, French fries, and hot sauce. And that's
as a result,
you just go sit down.
As a result, if you want food from the hot line, there's no line for it. Nobody ever gets it. Like,
no.
You know how there were all those myths in your cafeteria of like, you had hamburgers on Monday, so you had spaghetti on Tuesday, and then you had chili on Wednesday, and then you had chili dogs on Thursday, like just reusing the same meat over and over again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those aren't myths here. That's actually how this place functions. Very economical, but they have to try to reuse the stuff because nobody eats it. So it's a very vicious cycle.
What I'm hearing is that they serve hot slop that could count as a mud mask in the cafeteria.
Oh no!
Yeah. And that thought, I go and get a full bowl.
So you have several options. Today is chili day.
Okay. Is it spicy? Because that might upset my toad's flesh.
It's like Tex-Mex chili day. So there's also like a big old vat of very, very liquidy refried beans. A vat of that just like canned nacho cheese. Like stuff like that. Yeah. So
I'll go with some of the beans and then some bapples. Beans and bapples, that sounds like a healthy and balanced diet.
Yeah, absolutely. What's everybody else eating?
I like the idea of slicing a bapple that's like the size of a cantaloupe and having these two gigantic slices over your eyes like they would do cucumbers, and then just the rest of your face is covered in nacho cheese.
It's called self-care, okay?
Yes. What's everybody else getting in the cafeteria, if anything?
I am not hungry, and I won't subject myself to cafeteria bapples. I'm actually looking, before we go on this adventure, I need to secure something from the postmaster, because I need to send package before we depart.
Okay. Well, let's say that you're going to skip the calf and go off in that direction. Before we jump away from the calf, Nimbus, are you engaging in any foodstuffs in the cafeteria?
Yeah, I feel like I because of my reputation at the school being the one of the zoanthropes and all that, I probably am usually one of the guys that gets a wink and 2 lumps in the hot
Mhm.
food line. So I go ahead and do that, pocket the food off the plate, and then I'm going in search of bags to put all my clothes in for the trip because I don't have any.
Dude,
So
your pockets must just be an atrocious mess. Like, just the worst type of things imaginable because you just keep putting all this very, very liquidy foodstuffs into your pockets. I mean, they must
I
be
also
It's
like
got its
well
own
made.
ecosystem.
I mean, you say that they could just be leaking right down his legs. You don't know.
that's
He
what I
has
was gonna
no
say.
idea.
Like,
Yeah.
no. I would definitely line my pockets with plastic bags because if the food leaked down my legs, it would get on my socks, and that's unacceptable.
That's unacceptable. Yeah,
It's a no-go.
protect the
I
socks.
got you. Perfect.
Okay, so you two are doing that. I assume you're going to be heading back towards your dormitory. Think less dormitory and more cottage that the three of you share.
Okay.
You had a roommate. They disappeared during the night a few weeks ago. You don't know where they went. But that's not unusual at the Versity. It's one of those, like, they just weren't there one morning, and yeah, cool. That stuff happens.
No one seems
Huh.
concerned.
No one
Lovely.
seems concerned. You're definitely not the first cottage to have somebody just disappear.
Okay.
So Veighor, what are you trying to get from the postmaster? What are you doing? What's the sitch?
I need to obtain a box about the size of a bread loaf. I need to get a piece of parchment that I can write a note upon, and I need to get whatever type of stamp or necessary object can send this as a gift.
Well, you know that there's the self-service corner over there. I don't know why I chose that. That's horrible.
Classic.
That's
That's
horrible.
every postmaster I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
I also
Um,
like that after the head listener with the growly voice, you're like, we're gonna go nasally on this one. That'll be easy.
Yeah, so there's the self-help corner over there where you should be able to find all the accoutrements that you need.
I'm tired of self-help in the cafeteria, and I am tired of self-help at the postmaster. I could help myself, but you are right here, and you don't look very busy. Now I need a box about the size of a bread loaf. I need a piece of parchment that I can write something upon, and I need one of those stamps.
Veighor, we have this conversation every time you come in here. And every time
And
you
every
come in
time
here,
I leave after smashing something because you
Mhm.
will not help me with my package. So,
yeah. So
I
I want you to
lay my
before
large
you
hammer
stop,
upon the counter.
Stop. Before you do anything else, I want you to turn around and look at the nice gentleman behind you.
I slowly keep maintaining eye contact with him, turn, and I whip my head back and I stare at the guy behind me. And I snarl.
Yeah, there is you'd think it was a poorly made dwarf, except for it's 12 feet tall. Like, a dwarf
Wow.
obviously was like, I'm gonna make a giant dwarf. And the only reason one would call it poorly made is it isn't to scale. Like, this is a masterpiece. And it's just standing there pleasantly smiling at you and just gives you a little finger wave like, oh, hey.
Sir, you're a large dwarf, which is a terrible contradiction. I turn back to the postmaster.
So,
I need
you,
a box about the size of
yeah,
a
they're
bread.
right over there in the self-help section. So, you can go get it yourself, just the same as always. That's how this place works. And if you don't want to, then, Bingo over there, because Bingo is his name-o, he's going to have some choice things to say to you with his fists.
Bingo! I put a hand on the soft leather handle of my hammer, and I pull it across the counter, screeching till it falls off and thuds on the ground. And then I drag it, glaring at the postmaster.
Oh, that's great. Great podcasting.
I let it
right
clatter to
there.
the floor,
Mhm.
right? And I snatch one of the boxes, which obviously isn't pre-folded. It has to be folded and taped up, obviously. I grabbed
Yeah.
one of those. I purposely knock over some of the stack. Whoops. Bingo. You might have something to pick up here. And I begin folding the box, taking huge pulls of the tape, wrapping this box, prepping it. I pull out a piece of paper, slam it onto the counter, pull out one of the ink quills. I make sure to cover the paper so no one can see what I write. But it says in my jagged handwriting, "We are even now." Crumple it. I don't even fold the paper. I crumple it into a ball. I stuff it into the box. And I return to the postmaster and demand one of those stamps. And I reach in my bag and I pull out a single silver pence. I bite it. And then I slide it across the counter.
Someone's being a real chaos Karen right now.
And oh god. Yes, well played. Quick as a whip? I don't know. Quick as a something that's quick. He snatches the silver off of the counter and, like, in one fluid motion, snatches the silver, grabs a stamp, just swipes it across his abnormally, like, wet tongue and slams it down on the box. Well, there you go.
You have been dreadful to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
stuffed it
seriously
into
like
my
a
pocket.
pot calling the kettle black type situation there.
Bingo, good luck with this, man. I pity you. And I leave.
All right. I assume you're going to your cottage.
Yes.
All right. So you are all now at your cottage. And it's comfy. It's cozy. Is there anything?
Is it just like, is it pretty small? Like, is it just like basically like a standalone place for just kind of 4 people, I guess? Or is it, we happen to have 4 rooms in like a larger kind of cottage shared by more kids or people?
No, it's a, like, there are 4 small bedrooms and then 1 common area.
Okay.
And so it's definitely like just the 3 of you in there. You now have a spare bedroom and it's locked. And there's like the common area.
Awesome. Perfect.
Talking like
So-
French colonial, like what? Just trying to get a clear picture in my head.
Art
I mean,
Deco, I
it's
think.
it's a cottage. Why must you do this to me?
So it's a cottage. Okay.
Yeah. Like
The old
whatever
English
image
cottage.
that conjures into your mind,
Mm-hmm.
that can be your own truth that you live in.
Okay, so Veighor, you come back in from your package exploits, and you do notice that Quitherp is in the common area, in what looks to be a inflatable small kiddie pool. You imagine that she filled this with water at some point, although there seem to be a large number of refried bean-like things floating in the water at this point. She is sitting in there ladling bits of it onto her toad, comfortably lounging.
That smells great in here. I like what you have done with the place. I kicked the door shut behind me. Now, soon we will be gone from here. I look around. I won't miss it a bit. I clutch my package between my hands.
Well, if the Toad Lord's willing and the
wait.
bog don't try, we'll be out of here in no time, baby. Then I ladle another bit of mud onto my head.
Wait, quick question. Point of clarification. You went to the postmaster and didn't ship your package?
Yeah,
No.
he's still carrying it.
Oh, okay,
right?
cool.
Right. I've prepped my package. Before we leave on our ship, I'm going to mail it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Is that the sign that I'm gonna have to remember the postmaster's voice?
Yes.
I hope to never deal with that dreadful man again. So,
The feeling is so mutual. It's so mutual.
he has been difficult at every turn and every opportunity. Okay.
I'll be honest though, Bingo, I could hang out with Bingo again. I feel like
Yeah,
that's pretty
I
yeah.
think we recruit him. There are rules about henchmen in here that, I mean, Bingo's a 12-foot tall dwarf. Impeccably made.
Yeah.
A great conversationalist.
I like that you're just deciding all of these things canonically. That's fantastic.
I think he's calling him a great conversationalist because he's silent.
Yeah.
For the
Yep.
most part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to
Talks less than
learn
that
what
postmaster.
Veighor values, and it's just people that shut up and let him do whatever he wants.
That's it exactly. That's
Mhm.
a chaos champion.
Yeah. Nimbus, what are you getting up to right now?
I'm gonna say I think I poke my head in the door and
Mhm.
look kind of guiltily. Are you guys in the common room?
Yeah, I'm in a kiddie pool full of refried beans and water.
In the common room?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
In the common area. I've set this up in our living room, basically. Yeah. Mhm.
So I'm gonna kind
I
of
live here
guiltily
too.
look.
Okay.
I'm gonna like kind of guiltily look at you guys and then kind of slide in, but my shirt is like bulging and crinkly with like all these bags that I've stolen, and then kind of scuttle to my room and slam the door. I was gonna make a joke about me living on the 17th floor of this cottage because you left it up to me to build it in my head, but I'm not gonna do that.
Thank you.
So I take the express elevator.
Thank you. So this is a point where I'm going to let you know that all of you are going to have a chance to rest and reflect on the events of the day.
And
Hoping
will.
desperately that you've remembered to put tick marks next to any skills you would like to try and test.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yay.
Indeed.
Okay.
I do have
So-
a quick question, though, a point
Yeah.
of clarification, perhaps.
Yes.
So, when it comes to getting better during rests and stuff,
Yes.
I think the only way that we can improve a skill is if we already have it and we have tick marked it. That's how you test it, right? But if you because for example, I made multiple hits with my ladle, which counts as a mace, which would be like mace fighting, but I don't have it as an advanced skill, and so I don't think I can actually level that up until I meet somebody who has it that can teach me it. Right? Is that how that works? Did I understand that correctly, or can I still test to improve it if I have used it successfully, but have not
You
met
have
somebody who's actually
to-
got it?
You have to find someone who's
curious.
willing to teach you to learn new advanced skills.
Okay, cool. But I can improve ones I've already got if I've ticked them.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So you need to roll 2d6 over your current skill total in order to increase it by 1. So you take your skill plus the advanced skill, that's your skill total, and you have to beat that number, not match it, you have to beat it with 2d6.
Can you test the same skill more than one time, or does it have to be 3 separate skills?
I think it's
You may
three
test
separate.
a maximum of 3 skills in one rest, regardless of success or failure. It
Didn't
looks
DM
like you
call?
could try to
distinguish.
just test one skill 3 separate times, regardless of success or failure. So
That's
I'm
cool.
going to say that the wording is ambiguous enough that we're going to let it ride.
All right, sounds good. I guess I will go ahead and test some
Yeah.
of mine. I'm going to test sneak
Cool.
first. I got a 4. My current total is 6. I have to beat it, right? So that does not
Yep.
work. Doing sneak again. Got a 12.
All
Does
right.
that do anything special
You get
for
to
me?
add 1. Yeah, there's no such thing as a mighty success on a testing a skill.
Boo. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and test web,
Okay.
just in case I need to use that one again.
Do you think?
I did not beat it though. I got a 3.
Okay.
I need that to be like your superpower. I like
Right? I need
Yeah.
like a 12 in that. I need to get my
I need
rhythm
you to
real high.
snot enemies ad nauseum. Like
Yes.
all the time.
Uh,
Ad nauseum.
ad nauseam.
Oh,
Uh,
Well played.
Somebody ring the bell.
I am
Yeah,
going to
Veighor.
test my assume shape spell.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 4, so that failed. So I'm gonna try and test that again because I'd like to use that more. That I got a 10, and my current skill total is a 7, so that'll
Cool.
go up by 1. And then the other thing I will test is my maul fighting. I got a 6, so that failed. So I leveled up my assume shape spell by 1.
All right. Nimbus, what you doing?
So I'm gonna roll for strength first. It's 2d6, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to beat 7. Yes, I did. So strength plus 1.
What did you get?
Then I'm gonna I got a 10.
Okay. Cool.
He's
Just for the
strong.
people listening at home.
Mhm.
Beat
It
7.
took him a while to
with
count
10.
that high.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 5 and 5. That's 10. Let me go ahead and do fist fighting. I got to beat a 7 again, and I got 6.
Nope.
We've been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, I know. Let me go ahead and try for wrestling then. And no, I did not get wrestling. I needed to beat 7. I got 5.
Okay. So everybody has done their skill testing.
Also, quick question.
Yeah.
For our I'm assuming this is an over 8 or more hour rest that we're
Mhm.
taking, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because that means we will also regain 2d6 stamina and also 2d6 luck, I believe, right?
Yep. You cannot go over your maximum stamina or luck.
I'm back to full luck and only down 1 stamina after my rest. So I got a
Yeah, I'm
scratch or
pulling full.
two, but not too bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Powerful mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some
Rested
good
up.
mud.
It was the refried beans, guys, let's be honest.
It
okay?
was.
Yep, I'm full. So you want to
Awesome.
hear how stupid I am? I like everything's in pencil except the luck that I spent. I wrote in pen, so I can't erase it. That's really frustrating.
That's
Yeah.
unlucky.
Oh, quick question.
Yeah.
If I went to the cafeteria last night, how many more provisions do I have? Did I get provisions with those bapples, or can I at least refresh the provision I ate?
I
don't
will
know
let
if I should roll
you
for that, or if I should just...
refresh the provision you ate and also gain 1 more.
Cool.
How many bapples? Let's say you got 3 bapples. So you can either use each bapple as a provision, or you can share them around between the others with you. It's your call.
For just a second, it started to sound like an elementary school problem. You know, you've got 3 bapples.
You have 3 bapples and 2 friends. How many provisions do you share with them?
Well, given the fact that the bapples were described as being muddy on the inside, I give my friends 0 of them, and I keep them all for myself and my toad.
Oh no, all bapples
We're going on the road.
are muddy.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
just
I'm
the way that bapples
I'm keeping
are.
I'm keeping all 3 bapples
Yeah.
for myself because I want that sweet, sweet bapple mud.
Yeah, that's a great decision. Awesome.
You know, if we're going on the road, who knows how long it'll be until I can get some organic matter to smother all over myself.
Yeah. So, the night, as you're all sleeping, passes uneventfully. And the next morning, you are awoken by a knocking at your door.
Is it super early, or is this like a normal time for there to be a knocking on my door?
This would be a normal time.
Okay.
All right, Nimbus takes the tunnel that he dug out of the outside of the cottage
Okay.
under the wall, and climbs up on the roof and checks to see who it is.
Okay.
Do I need to roll for climb?
No, you have done this often enough that this would be a normal thing for you.
Okay.
Like this is something that you're very comfortable with.
I'm going to say there's a lot of vines growing on the side of the house, so I use those to sneakily peek and see who it is.
Yeah, you absolutely.
I
would know
roll
what
over
you're
and
doing.
press the pillow around my ears and I audibly snore, hoping that someone else will get the door.
Cool.
I go and answer the door.
Like
I'm a
the
bit
only
disturbed, but
this
yeah.
is like
I-
can we take a moment to consider the fact that the pond pisser is the most normal person in this party right now?
I'm
The
sweet old
stand-up
lady, I don't
person.
know what you're talking about.
I love it.
So I open the door cautiously. I'm still a bit sleepy. I got some mud stuck in my eyes. You know, I haven't fully awoken yet. The toad seems grumbly on my head.
As
And
toads
peering around,
do.
who do I see as I crack the door open?
You see a rather imposing figure at the door. This you would know as Listener Rojak. For those of you listening at home, I'm gonna let you guess how that's spelled. So this is Listener Rojak. They are the head of spherical navigation. And they are an ardent giant of Corda. They stand rather tall. They're dressed in a rather dignified manner as well. And as you open the door, they look, "Oh, yes, Quith. I was hoping you'd answer the door because, quite frankly, I don't want to have to deal with the others, although I'm pretty sure Nimbus is on the roof looking at me right now."
I take a little peek around, like out the door, and I notice my buddy definitely up on the roof. And side-eyeing old Rojak, I say, "Well, I can't blame him for being a little bit annoyed. You're buzzing around us like a skeeter so early in the morning. Well, I guess early twilight out here, but..." And I glance up and down at the ardent giant of Corda, who I imagine is a bit of a giant. And I say, how can I help you?
Well,
I don't think our other companion is quite up and moving yet. As I glance back inside, looking
make
around
sure
for
that they get
Veighor.
up and moving, because I've been sent by the head listener to convey you to your mode of transportation for this endeavor. It seems that you all did a good enough job with your bookbinding final that you've been granted a passing grade in the remainder of your classes and will be graduating early.
There's a brief pause as that starts to sink into my half-awake brain. I have not had my morning mud yet, you know? I'm not fully with it. And as soon as I realize that means I do not have to take my curses course final, I perk right up and say, "Well, wet my whistle. How can I be of service?" And I swing the door open, ushering my new friend inside.
So Rojak stoops and enters and then stops halfway through the door and sees the kiddie pool full of black beans and water and just backs out. I think I'm good out here. If you'd like to collect your roommates, I wouldn't want to intrude on the privacy of your dwelling. Why don't you all just meet me over there in a little while? You know, like 10 minutes. And you see them point to a bend in the path where there's a nice bench under a beautiful tree of some variety. My mind's drawing a blank, so it's just a beautiful tree at this point.
It's a bappel tree.
It's not a bappel tree. We've had enough bapples at this point.
Never enough bapples. I don't know what you're talking about.
And they sort of stomp off in a like sullen manner and just go park themselves on the bench.
I cannot sleep with all of this stamping, I say, as I exit my room and throw my pillow on the ground. Who was that?
I before I go inside, glancing back at old Veighor, who's finally started moving. I look up at Nimbus, who I assume is still on the rooftop, and I say, "Old Nimby, come on down here. We got some prep work to do." I try to wave him as I walk in to greet my other roommate.
So you hear some
And
skittering. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're
I was gonna say,
skittering.
you hear some skittering on the roof, and then a thump, and then some scrambling, and then you hear furniture moving around in Nimbus's bedroom. And then Nimbus walks out in his pajamas, yawning like he just woke up, but he's covered in dirt.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man after my own heart. Wonder if you had a mud bath last night too, honey.
Who
I
was
take a
that?
little bit of that dirt and taste it. Top notch.
Who was that?
Yes, who was that?
Oh, you didn't recognize old Rojak? He's a spherical navigation
Rojak?
head listener. I thought you guys would be familiar by now. Came to give us the good news that we are officially exempt from our remaining finals, which means I don't have to take that curses course I was so worried about. Whew, team.
That
And
is
then
so
I
good.
glance
That
back
is
at
so
Nimbus
good.
with a bit of a smirk and say, I'm not sure if that impacts you too much, honey, but for the rest of it.
I'm like, yeah, so good. So good.
Rojak, huh? You know, they made a song about him. Hit the Rojak. And don't you come back. No more, no more, no more. They say,
Clap along.
Rojak.
I don't like it.
Oh, goddamn.
Like, that was so good and horrible. Oh.
Well, once I start hearing that song, I hummed to myself for a moment before catching my roommates up on the rest of the conversation that we had. Kind of point over to the tree where he's lounging. I think I might have offended him with my bath water, and I point over at the kiddie pool. He didn't want to come in and wait for us to get ready.
Giants can be prickly.
All right, I'm going to take a quick bath in the sink and then go put my clothes on and get all of my assorted random bags stuffed full of fancy clothes and socks. And go outside and sit uncomfortably close to the Giant of Corda or the listener Nalthus on the bench
No.
under the tree.
Listener Rojak.
Rojak. My
Yes.
bad. That one.
That one.
Yeah, I furiously scratch, my arm and chest before donning an assortment of different armors. I look at my hammer. I look around my room, take one last look before I smash my end table, smash my desk, smash my bookshelf, turn around, put the hammer in the sleeve on my back, and slam the door shut behind me. I whistle as I walk over to Rojak.
Very nice. And Quith has most of her notes from school and everything pretty organized. She's had some issues with the roommates in the past because her items sometimes are quite stinky, so they're often requested to be kept in an organized fashion in the one area of the home or in my room. So packing doesn't take me too long, but I do make sure to make some time to piss in my kiddie pond water. Hopefully get a jar or something so that I can bring some of it with me on the road. And I say a quick sermon over my pond water as I do so to the great Papa Sherp, thanking
Fantastic.
him for all of his wisdom.
Can we say
That's-
again that the characters in Troika are absolutely ridiculous?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is
Also, I'm not
fantastic.
being discreet about this. If any of you are in the common area, you can actively see me pissing in this pond water. I am not.
yeah.
I'm not ashamed.
Yeah. As you should be.
Yeah.
So you all join Rojak on the path. And well, I'm glad you all finally decided to show up. I guess just follow me and we'll go check out your new accommodations. And they start leading you down this very, very winding path. It cuts through a lot of Troika proper, which is an ancient city built of all different types of building material. You'll have like literally what look to be like rough-hewn log cabins that share a wall with like glass and spindle steel structures that also share a wall with like mud huts and just on and on and on. It's totally weird and random and kind of fascinating. And it's very tight. You know how in a lot of old cities, the top stories of buildings extend out further over the road? That's very much like the feel that you get in Troika. Is everything kind of leans in over the road, and in places it connects, so you can't even see this twilight sky. You're winding through back alleys and just sort of generally heading towards what you know to be the harbor of Troika that abuts the humpbacked sky. And as you're going there, Rojak is just droning on and on about inconsequential nonsense. And finally, as you turn this last corner before the harbor, you see it. Your ticket to explore the endless spheres and expanses of the humpbacked sky. It lists dangerously to port, and looks less like it would majestically crest over waves, and more like it would depressingly flounder atop them. The hull is battered and patched so many times you're convinced that much like the ship of Theseus, there isn't anything left of the original. But Rojak assures you that she is a worthy vessel. Her sails have dulled to the color of tarnished brass and flap listlessly in the breeze, but she is yours to command and awaits your direction. There, doesn't she look just gorgeous?
So you can see the heart and spirit of her. Very fine vessel, Jack.
Yes, I thought
I'm
so
gonna,
myself.
I'm
Yes.
gonna say I'm pretty much gaping up at the sails and run on board to dump all my bags and then immediately start climbing one of the masts. This ship does have masts, right?
It does have masts. There are so many rat lines running around. Most of them seem to be mainly for the purpose of clambering up to the top of the mainmast. Like just superfluous rat lines everywhere. You could
Awesome.
have multiple parties on these rat lines.
Okay.
Yeah, Nimbus is in heaven up there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Quith?
Quith is eyeing the ship up and down, but seems more interested in the humpbacked sky water, I assume. Liquid-like substance that it is floating upon.
Water's not quite the right word, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
More fascinated with that, since obviously that's something she spent probably a little bit less time looking at than something that would appear like a metal. Thinking that if only she could piss in that water, perhaps they'd have a safe and secure journey. But she is able to restrain herself as she climbs on board after her companions.
Well, now that you're all aboard, I'll let you get situated with, your living arrangements at your own leisure, but I wanted to give you the head listener's directives for this expedition. Are we all ready?
Yeah, I dropped down.
Yeah,
I'm,
I follow.
I'm scratching my armpit, staring at him.
Fantastic. Also, I'm not sure why this eyebrow has to travel this far south when I'm doing Rojak's voice, but it's a thing.
It's the sass. Yeah,
it's the sass. All right. Directive 1. Explore the expanses and attempt to send back reliable maps as often as possible. And out of his voluminous cloak, he pulls a small and intricately carved box. It has a single golden clasp on the front, or what looks to be gold. You can tell it's probably a cheaper metal, though. and opens it facing you, opens the box, and it is a set of finely crafted cartographer's tools.
Nice.
Yes. These tools, the use of which will grant, basically just having this box gives all of you the cartography skill. And you get an automatic +1 in cartography. And so one of your jobs is going to be mapping these unexplored reaches. Yes, Quith.
So this is the thing that basically, as long as you're using it, you have that +1, and basically it acts almost as like an advanced skill whenever you're using it. For roll's sake. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. Now this is something that you will be able to test. Let me put it this way. Until you've tested and succeeded, you don't actually possess the skill cartography. But
it's like a temporary thing when you're using it.
Once you've tested, your cartography skill equals whatever that number is minus the 1 that you get from these tools. So if you lost them and you tested twice, you'd still have a 2 in cartography. You just wouldn't get that +1 from the tools.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hopefully that clarified things.
Yeah, like the discussion we had earlier about somebody teaching you a new advanced skill, that's what's happening right now by giving us these tools. Okay,
he's
perfect.
basically giving you the advanced thing you need to practice with to be able to learn this skill.
Lovely.
And there is an instruction booklet inside of the box where you can kind of learn your first point.
Beautiful.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you like them. Your second directive is going to be to recruit any new prospects that you can to enroll at the Versity. You know, numbers have been down, and so we're in desperate need of fresh faces, as it were. Anyone you can send our way would be appreciated. And he hands you a small rubber-banded stack of business cards that basically are Versity business cards.
On these business cards, does it have some sort of like contact information for people, or is it like, does it act as like a one-off, like it'll transport them someplace? Is there something that I can tell off of just looking at the business card? Because otherwise, I do want to ask how we put them in touch with the Versity directly.
Yeah, so these business cards are actually it's got instructions on the front of the business card is a bold artistic choice drawing or rendering of the Versity.
Okay.
And by bold, I mean it is not an accurate representation. It looks significantly
embellished.
It looks significantly classier on these business cards. If you've ever seen a college brochure and then toured the college and been like, that one of these things is not like the other. Yeah. And on the reverse side, there are a series of instructions. The card is basically a phone call to the admissions department. So there's instructions on how to use the card to get in touch with the admissions department. And you can basically just kind of use it as almost like a FaceTime type thing, or like a scrying pool, as it were. And so they don't actually give you a bonus to proselytizing in the name of the school. But there is a bounty on these cards, or not on the cards, actually, technically, on admissions to the school. You will gain passive income for every entity that you help enroll in this school. The cards are kind of touch marked with your group's identification, so that if somebody contacts the school through your card, the money is deposited into your account, essentially. And by that, I mean, they just put some silver in a box and you have to go back there and get it. We'll figure out how much money that is later once I have any idea how money works in this world. I don't.
This is like the Troika pyramid scheme. Now, if you can refer
it
to
is
students under you, and those people can refer to
100%, yes. Are we all clear on how these business cards work?
Yes, Nimbus says as he shakes his head no.
Of course. What do you think? I'm an idiot? Of course I know how a business card works. I look at it. Yes,
wonderful.
I put it.
Yeah, as I hold up the card, I say, yeah, I recognize that this picture is a bit of a lie, and that makes people believe that coming here is worth it.
I nod.
With a bit of a
Furiously.
wink.
Well, I'm sure all of your personal experiences with this school can attest to the fact that it's a marvelous institution of higher learning.
I glance over at Veighor with a bit of a side eye. Yes, we can all attest to that.
Yes. Before you go, if you could
I'm
do
not
me
done
one
with the
favor.
directives.
I give him a look like, this is taking forever.
I wasn't
Well, then,
about
if
to
you could-
go. You're just rude and impatient.
I will sit down then, I say as I just pop a squat where I'm at.
Yes, sit down.
I do
Shut up. You exhaust me. Your last main directive, before I give you a final piece of advice, because apparently I have to tell you what I'm going to say, because otherwise you'll think I'm done talking, is don't die. It will reflect incredibly poorly on the reputation of this institution if you are inhumed.
I hold out my hand.
Yes, I do have something for you. And he hands each one of you a small device the size of a pager. And for those of you who don't know how big that is,
oh no, that's a thing, isn't it?
It
Oh
is.
God.
Yeah. I purposely used a pager as reference just to get your reactions to people not knowing it.
The bad part is, in my brain, I almost followed that comment up with, oh, well, if you don't know what that is, it's around the size of a beeper. And I was like, hold on a second, that's not going to be any more helpful.
Hey,
it's
Katie-
slightly
Katie went to
slightly smaller than a deck of playing cards.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
my wife bought a bottle of wine, and the woman just glanced at her ID and handed it back to her. And she said, "Did you even check it?" And she said, "Yeah, I just have to check the first two numbers of the date you were born."
Yeah.
Because
If there's
everyone
a 1
who's
in the first place, then you're good.
then you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
all
happening. It's so
any what?
I know.
exciting.
So all three of you have been given these small pager-like things. And on the front of it, there's a gauge. And the gauge for each one of you, except for Quith. So for Veighor and Nimbus, the gauge is all the way to the right as you look at it. For Quith, it is slightly back from that. And there are a series of sliders on the bottom that seem to indicate different choices, but you can't manipulate them. It's more like stacked light bars that just show which choices have been input. On
I compare mine to my companions and look back at this individual with slanted eyes and say, I think mine might be broken. The levels look a little bit off. And I smash it with my hand a couple times, like an old school TV.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's
Can I get one with
totally
bigger
normal.
bars?
No.
We can
don't think
trade,
you're
honey.
measuring
And
it
I go to pass him.
Yes, let me see yours.
I was gonna say,
can finish
Quith, I
this last.
hand you
bit.
mine and take yours, and we just stand there.
Well, you can't have two. Give me one back. Oh.
So as you're passing them between you, anyone that Quill is currently holding, the needle moves back
you mean
a little
Quith?
bit.
Do you
Quith?
mean
I do mean Quith. I did it too.
for all the listeners out there, we have another game in which I
Oh no,
named
we
my
had to
character
explain that
Quill,
last
so-
session.
Oh, did we? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's an ongoing joke where all of my characters always start with a Q, and they always sound very
Yeah,
similar.
it's very easy to remember which one's which. So yeah,
it.
anyone that Quith is holding, and this is like, you know those old stereo sets that have the needles that like move around as the sound goes through. That's what this needle looks like. And anyone that Quith is holding, that needle pulls back from the edge a little bit. And if you pass yours to either of your other teammates, it moves up to the furthest right hand position.
So my eyes just get wide, and I look at Quith and say, "Radiation."
I immediately go to pull out the jar of piss pond water with refried beans in it, and go to crack it open, looking at my companions and go, "Oh, we can fix this, no problem." And I stick my ladle in and start to try to smother it on Nimbus's face. A little bit of mud. Never
Okay.
hurt anybody.
Well, while you're doing that, do you want to take a look at the side of this device? And if
I pause for a quick moment, and then look back at the thing with my ladle still in the air, dripping mud onto the ground.
Yeah. So if you're like holding it in your hand, looking at the front, and you turn it to look at the tall right-hand side, it says MAPRE 5000, and the MAPRE is TM'd. Or whatever the Troika equivalent of a trademark is.
Troika manufactured. There you go.
So, no, this isn't Troika manufacturing. This handy little device scans the neural webbing of the current wearer and, in the event of biological expiration, will fashion them a new body randomly chosen from its databank of 36 currently available patterns. There are rumors of users performing extra-legal modifications to their unit, allowing them to pre-select their next form, but these rumors are unsubstantiated, and such an act would be prosecuted diligently by the Skent Aggregation's legal hive.
I like legal hive.
Yeah.
We should adopt that in the real
Also,
world.
I have an asterisk in there, and I want to read you what I wrote after the asterisk. The Skent Aggregation, producer of MAPRE matter printing devices, in no way guarantees retention of memories, knowledge, skills, and or personality, nor are they liable for any subsequent damages, either physical, emotional, or metaphysical, to the user. Use of the MAPRE device constitutes a binding agreement to these terms by the user. I would just advise each one of you to clip that onto your belt or whatever substitute you have for a belt, and don't even worry about it.
I'm nodding like I
bandolier.
understand, but my face is very clearly confused, and I loudly take a slurp off of the edge of my ladle.
Also,
Gotcha.
when he said look at it from the side, I just turned sideways and kept looking at the same side, so I don't see anything.
Here, I can help you. I've seen these before. I clip it onto the front of each one of your outfits. There. Now don't take that soft or you die.
Yes. Have you actually seen one of these before, Veighor?
Some of the pirates would use them. There was a famous pirate captain who secured some contraband, and one of the crates was full of these. So she outfitted her whole pirate crew with them, and then they would disguise their ship as, another merchant vessel or an official's like customs vessel or something like that, and they could go through the database of existing disguises. So that's what I've heard of, and she's a really powerful pirate captain, and she rides with Click Clack, the great squid.
Okay, fantastic.
But I've never worn one, but I've seen a rendition of her, and she had it clipped right in the front on a big bandolier.
So your first place to start, which, you know, you're probably going to make somewhat a regular habit of visiting, would be Bar Diddley's Spectacular Traveling Anti-Derby Plus, where Tiffany, an alumnus and personal friend of the Versity, is waiting. She may be able to shed some more light on this situation.
Nimbus immediately goes, yes, and then looks really confused.
Anti-Derby Plus, what kind of stuff goes on there, I must wonder. I ain't never been to no derby, let alone an anti one. But I look really excitedly over at Nimbus, who seems to maybe know what this is about, also seems slightly confused.
Nimbus immediately says, it's a racetrack, and then looks confused again and says, I think.
It's a racetrack, a place you can lose lots of money.
And bless plenty of people with some more piss water. I'm glad I stocked up on some before we hit the road, team. And I shake the jar that still has a decent amount of muck left in it, recap it, and stick it back in my bag. Better save the rest of this. Never know when you'll need it.
So I would go ahead and advise that you don't bless people unless they ask you to, because, well, that will just get very dangerous for your personal health. Not everybody enjoys being blessed by piss water.
Oh, you understand? There are plenty of benefits to the muck that's contained in this jar. I have been studying it my entire life.
That's fine. You're welcome to believe that, but not everybody else does.
Believe that. And I start to kind of mumble and go back over, sitting in the side, kind of talking to my toad a little bit in a hushed mumble. It's all right, honey. She does not know what they're talking about.
So this is where I leave you. You'll be leaving with the tides. That gives you a couple of hours before your departure. So if you have anything you need to wrap up here at the Versity before you leave, I'd suggest you do that, because frankly, you won't be back here for a while.
Yes. Oh, and I lean my head, thankfully, against the wall of the ship. Oh, good. Road, Jack, before you hit the road, Jack, if you could do me one favor. You and I have always
Probably
been...
not.
Well, I'm going... Just wait 1 second. I scamper back into the hall, find my room, and I need to find that paperweight.
Yeah, so it takes you a couple of minutes. There are multiple cabins on this ship. So let's get into what this looks like. This is, think houseboat, but
okay,
as a sailing ship. So it definitely doesn't look super suited to sailing into dangerous unknown reaches of the humpbacked sky. But you'll be decently comfortable while you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the story here. So it takes you a minute, and you don't have far to go though, because you go in and it's not even in your room. It's in kind of the common area right there. There is a small like coffee table in the middle of everything, and on it, with a note from the head listener that says, "Told you so," is your paperweight.
Perfect. I rush
and
over.
Can you describe what this paperweight looks like for me, please? And for the listeners
definitely.
at home.
So I excitedly tiptoe, my hands trembling excitedly in front of my chest, as I stare wide-eyed at this beautiful, pristine, polished paperweight. It has a flat bottom, but a beautifully curved surface. Inside, it's got what looks like, those old marbles that have a swirl and mix of color? But it has that swirl, but in it are thousands of twinkling little lights. And it looks like a small trapped galaxy inside. And I know that the dean has always been fond of this paperweight, as he has an exquisite collection of small trinkets and antiques. And as I gingerly and with great ceremony pick up this paperweight, I stare at it. And then I throw it on the ground.
Who didn't
and
know
I
that was
take
about to
my
happen?
hammer and I get out my big bread loaf size box, and I put the paperweight in there, and I smash it into a million pieces before gingerly folding the sides, taking a large strip of tape, wrapping it haphazardly, taking that stamp, licking it, running it across my tongue, smacking it on the front, and I write in my jagged, bestial handwriting, "To the dean, with great love, Veighor." And I rush on back, breathing heavily.
What did that
And
note say again? What did the crumpled note in the box say again there, Veighor?
We are even now. And I, a little exasperated, pass the box. "If you could just do me a favor and give this to the dean, he'll know what it means."
I mean, I suppose I could. It looks like you've had this for quite a while. It's seen better days. And
It's fragile, so
Rojek.
don't be too rough with the box.
Okay. It sounds like it's already broken.
No, it's many pieces. It's a fun little puzzle. It's fine. It's great.
Okay.
Don't look inside.
Okay. I wasn't going to. And they like tuck it into their cloak. And kind of give a little shake of their head and just turn around and walk away. Don't even say goodbye. They're just over the three of you. Which is, I feel like, how a lot of interactions are going to end in this game. Yeah, you are so petty. You are so petty, and I love it.
So Veighor, turning his back to that listener, waving his hand, getting rid of that emotional baggage. He does a full body brrr, and shimmy Jimmy, brrr, and shakes it all out before standing. He does a couple jumping jacks, and then he looks excitedly at his two companions and says, "There, that is the last day of the destruction week. Now, let us get to real business." And I pull at one of the loose straps, tightening a bit of my armor.
I'd be more
And-
than happy to get away from these close-minded folk. I say as I mumble one more time to my toad, they still don't understand what good taste is.
So I'm Nimbus. I'm looking very confused, and I've been kind of wandering off, and I've gone sort of around a corner, and I'm looking towards the front of the ship, towards the stem or the front of the ship, whatever you
The
call it on a
bow?
golden barge. The bow. Well, the bow is like more like the hull, right? The front of the deck would be
You'd
like
be
the
looking towards the bow.
okay.
You have the bow and then
Anyway.
the stern.
Right. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm looking around and I look really confused. I walk over and there's a little bench kind of built into the front and matching sides just on either side of the very front. And I lean down and hit a panel underneath the bench on the left-hand side, and a little door pops open, and I just gingerly open it and see that there's a cavity under the bench there, and then I reclose it, and I still look really confused. I kind of just reclose it and stand up and continue to wander around the deck.
And that's where we're going to end it. I feel like that's a nice place to end this session. Man, that was good. That flew by. Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you for listening. That was awesome. We're
We're officially done with the Versity, at least for now.
We're done with
Hopefully,
the Versity
fingers
for
crossed.
now.
I know Veighor is ready to leave.
Veighor is
and we're ready
so
to have
ready
him
to
stop
leave.
destroying things on the campus grounds.
I'm
Yeah.
ready to not have to voice anybody that is at the Versity again for a long time. You do realize, like, in a number of episodes, you're all going to want to go back there, and then I'm going to have to
100%.
rewatch these episodes to figure out what these voices are.
It's going to be perfect. I love it.
I hate it. Okay, so that's it. I think it's time to do a quick shout outs of what's been inspiring us artistically or creatively over the last week, 2 weeks, months, whatever it is. Just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Do that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick us off just with a quick thing. I've been like getting back into reading somewhat. And for those of you who like read voraciously as kids and then kind of lost it in adulthood, yeah.
You mean most of us who
a real
no longer
thing.
have required reading assignments, but still
Yeah.
want to be reading and just forget it's a thing we can do in our downtime? Yeah.
Yes, that. And so one thing that's been getting me back into it is a subreddit r/HFY. And there's a bunch of like, it's mostly science fiction, but there's also fantasy on there. Just like shorts or running stories, all these things. There are some people that are like writing basically like space operas on there.
Very cool.
And it's really cool because it's kind of like the next generation of storytellers practicing their craft there. And so there's published authors that will jump in the comments on some new kid's stuff and be like, hey, like you missed these edits, or like you could tighten up this section by doing this thing. So
Cool.
reading the stories is cool, and then seeing the interaction of a lot of people who are really passionate about storytelling kind of supporting each other and helping each other learn the trade creatively is really rad. So if you haven't checked it out, you should check out some cool stuff on there. And there's a bunch of long-running stories on there that are actually really good. Some people have gone on and published books just from what they've written on there. And so check it out. And I'm not going to tell you what to read because a lot of it's really cool and you'll find some weird stuff. So,
Very awesome.
Who wants to go next?
Cool.
I can go next. So this week I want to go ahead and drop Devin L. Kurtz as kind of my inspiration. Specifically, Instagram handle is Devin L. Kurtz, so DEVINELLEKURTZ. She is a phenomenal like designer, illustrator, graphic designer. She specifically, I think, got some notoriety for being the lead background painter on Disenchantment, which I did not know for a long time, ironically. But if you've watched Disenchantment, obviously that's a very specific style. Her independent style is a lot more reminiscent of something like Song of the Sea, almost. If you guys have seen that movie, or like something by like the Tom Moore kind of art studio, which I feel like is, if you haven't seen that as a movie, Song of the Sea, Secret of Kells, check that stuff out. It's amazing. But
Yes.
a lot more like ethereal, bright colors, really beautiful. And specifically why I am obsessed with following her on Instagram is that she does a lot of process videos. So she goes into how to do background design, perspective, kind of make people or individuals in a painting pop better, and talks about the actual process behind the scenes, which has been really teaching me a lot, doing a lot of things now on for illustration. I do run, for those of you who don't know that are listening, our social media accounts, and I kind of work with Jacob on doing a lot of the postings and stuff. So it's been really helpful in just learning how to make things look better when you're adapting them to a digital version of an illustration versus just something you're sketching on pen and paper. Because I know a lot of us as creators that are working here at Sonderlings have a little bit more experience with pen and paper, paint, or something like that than we do digitally. So really just a lot of inspiration there. And if you haven't checked her out, definitely do it. She's phenomenal. So
Heck
that's my
yes.
plug this week.
I love it.
Very
Who's
good.
next?
I'll go. So I was thinking about, I've been kind of listening to a couple of the same albums and been kind of focusing on familiar stuff. And so I was actually wondering this week what would be my thing to share. But I feel like anytime that someone asks me like, oh, what's a great like video to watch? It's called The Reward, and it's by Tales of Elethrion. But they also have other shorts like The First Hero, and I love with that they don't have any like scripted dialogue. It's all just grunts and responses, like guttural
Sound
responses and stuff.
effects almost.
Yeah. And I love
it's like Sims.
their concept of show don't tell.
Yeah.
And it's really great storytelling, and then their universe is so unique. Like it's just familiar enough that you can place it, but it's also so new, and it has like a lighthearted but also a lot of depth to it. So I was trying to think of something to share, and I always feel like that's like the top of my list for things to share. Like there's a little bit of something for everybody. It's The Reward, the video is like 5 minutes long, so anyone could watch it. But if you haven't seen that, I bet it's probably the best thing you'll see in all year.
Well, it's also great because I feel like DB has popped it on in the past when we've been hanging out with friends, even when we're kind of at a social gathering and there's people talking in the background and stuff. And it's great because it is short. I feel like I've never met somebody that doesn't love it. And it tells a phenomenal and very impressive story with no real script. Like it's really great. You can have literally music and people talking over it. And because there isn't really a script or dialogue to it, it doesn't matter. You can still totally watch it. So definitely recommend. Yeah, that's a great one.
Heck
or
yeah.
what is great.
Jacob, what you thinking?
Oh, I think I'm going to shout out Nicholas. I'm going to say Gendron, but on Instagram it's at Nico, NICO_GENDRON. He's an artist, really, really cool art. Very just like fundamentally different than a lot of the stuff that I've seen. Very, very, very good for Troika, because Troika's got the weirdness to it anyway. This guy really got the little bit of electricity firing in my dome.
Is that the one that you did on your personal Instagram?
It is.
The draw in my style? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I did it. He did a draw this in your style challenge, and I did it, and he hit me back. Like he commented on it like within an hour. So he's obviously like the coolest person ever because of that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's my thing for today, I think.
Yeah,
That's
I know we all were
fantastic.
creeping on him this week a little bit.
Yeah.
Really impressive. Yeah.
Really, yeah, just really unique stuff.
That's amazing. I'm looking through their story right now because they said they would share it in their story.
I'm really jealous of his fans too, because like after I posted the draw this in your style thing on my Instagram, I just hit the hashtag because he had like a Lil Town Hat, hashtag Lil Town Hat was his was the
Character.
additional hashtag for the challenge. And there's like over 100 entries, and they're all phenomenal.
Yeah,
like,
there
are so many good
absolutely
artists.
gorgeous.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I think all of his art is just, it's so weird and so unique that something like a draw this in your style challenge for it is really awesome, because there are a lot of like character concepts, that kind of thing, and they're all so weird that of course I want to do it.
Yeah,
You
like
know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
And on that note, just to anybody listening, anything that's on our social media, that's on our Instagram art-wise, draw it in your style, please. Like,
Oh, we
if
would love
you
to
tag
see it,
us,
please. Yeah.
if you draw it in your style and you tag us, unless like something slips through the radar for some weird personal reason, like something comes up in our lives, we're gonna share it to our story. We're gonna do what we can to shout that back.
Absolutely.
And we want to be inspired by the art that you're creating. As we go forward and as we start accumulating a bigger listener base, we're going to start trying to do some giveaways. Just doing some weird and interesting things. All of us are makers and creators in our own right, and we're going to be doing stuff. I'm going to be doing giveaways of like hand-bound journals, and some other weird accoutrements. I make dice trays as well that I'll probably do. But I'm not just going to do giveaways. I'm going to give incentive to it. So like, you got to do something for us, like write a short story or like, we're going to put up a writing prompt and you're going to have to write based on that writing prompt. And the one that we like the most, we'll give you something. So please engage with that stuff. Keep an eye out for it.
I mean, part of what's beautiful about kind of this entire subsect of, RPGs or OSRs is that they encourage anyone who's playing them, because there isn't all of this pre-established lore, to have kind of a creative collaboration together. And that's what we're hoping to do here with not just ourselves, but with everybody out there listening who's also diving into these games and loving them. Let's expand what they've already kind of given us and play around some together,
Yeah, and if you mail me anything, anything at all, and I like it, Danny will send you a journal.
Can you tell that we have been in quarantine for a while and really want to talk to you guys? Because we really do.
We want interaction. I will say, if you email us and you're like super polite and all that, and you want to ship us something, you might get an address out of one of us. We live in 3 separate locations, so pick who you want to send it to wisely, because the other people won't get it. Like we don't share well amongst ourselves with that kind of stuff.
I don't know. We've been sending boxes and stuff back and forth. It's pretty good.
We give each other gifts, but if a listener gifts me something, none of you are getting your grubby little hands on it. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, that's a problem, because I was about to say, like, just ask
hijack it.
Danny for his address, send it to him, and then he can send it to the rest of us.
No,
I feel like someone's going to
shut me down.
Broken paperweight.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
absolutely.
We just start getting broken paperweights in the mail.
If you want to go
Like,
to, like, straight up, if you want to go to thrift stores and buy paperweights and break them and ship them to us, actually, here's the deal. If you're going to do that,
don't do that.
If you're going to do that, here's what you got to do. You've got to kintsugi it. All right? If you're going to break it, you've got to mix up some sort of colored glue or epoxy and glue it back together like
solder
the head
together,
listener Nalthus would have, and make it whole again.
Or does.
That would be a fun one. Yeah.
And then ship it to us.
And for anyone listening right now,
Quith will send you a jar of probably brown.
No, don't promise people that. All right.
We're setting ourselves up for some dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Anyone though, if you guys do have any art submissions at any point, have any sort of concepts you want to throw our way, not only can you obviously tag us on social media, those links will be somewhere in the description. If you're listening over Spotify or something, you can always find us at Sonderlings Podcast, on Instagram. You can also shoot us an email at sonderlingspodcast@gmail.com. We will be keeping our eyes out for any contacts. So feel free to reach out at any point. Love to hear from you.
Bring it on. As always, you are all wonderful and we love you dearly, but we have other things to do. And so we're going to call it for the night. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic weekend and try not to get in too much trouble.